The snow had been falling for 3 days straight. I'd lost the sense of where the sky ended and the ground began. Everything outside the station was one blinding field of white that swallowed distance, swallowed time. The wind pressed against the walls, howling in long, uneven tones that sounded almost like voices when I listened too long. The kind of sound that made you question if it was real or if the mind had started to echo itself. The thermometer outside the airlock stayed frozen at -38. I checked it every hour, though I didn't need to. You could feel that kind of cold in your bones, like a slow grinding beneath the skin. Inside the station, the heat units kept cycling on and off. The generator was struggling again. Each time it dropped, the lights dimmed just enough to remind me how far from everything I really was. The last cargo plane had left 3 weeks ago. The crew went home before the real storm started. I stayed. Someone had to. That's what I told them, and maybe what I told myself. It was supposed to be a quiet winter, a chance to focus on the data, calibrate the sensors, get ahead of the schedule before the next rotation. But quiet has a way of growing teeth when it lasts too long. Around midnight, the door sensors tripped twice. The alarm was soft, but enough to make me sit up. I checked the security feed. Static, then the screen blinked back to life, showing nothing but the empty snowfield. No tracks, no movement, just that endless white. I told myself it was the wind shaking the frame, ice buildup on the hinge, anything but what it felt like. The door actually opening. By morning, the storm had calmed to a fine mist. I decided to go out and check the antennas. The door fought me as I forced it open, the wind trying to shove it closed again. The first breath of air stung like knives. Frost climbed the inside of my eyelashes. The ground was new, untouched. Every trace of the previous day had been erased. I moved slowly, my own footsteps the only sound. At the base of the antenna pole, I heard it. A low vibration deep beneath the snow. It wasn't mechanical. It was too slow, too deliberate. I crouched, pressed my glove against the surface. The snow trembled faintly, almost like a pulse. I thought of the permafrost layers below us, miles of ice and pressure. Maybe it was cracking, shifting. That's what I told myself as I dug through the snow with the edge of my boot. When metal glinted under the white, my stomach turned cold. It was a circular plate, smooth, perfectly round, no bolts or seams, the kind of thing that didn't belong here. A faint warmth came through the glove. I brushed more snow away and felt a steady vibration, thump, 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 like a heartbeat that didn't belong to me. I leaned closer, listening. That's when the radio hissed. "Base Colin, do you copy?" The voice cut through the static. "I'm here." I said, "What's happening?" The answer came delayed through bursts of interference. "You're not alone, get back inside." Then the signal snapped off, replaced by a soft, high whine that faded into silence. Not alone. The words repeated themselves in my head, mixing with the wind. There was no one left here. The last transmission I'd received from command had been 2 days ago, just routine checks. Now this. The snow around the metal disc seemed to shimmer faintly, like something breathing beneath the surface. I stumbled back toward the hatch, my boots sinking deep into the powder. Every step felt watched. The hairs on the back of my neck stood as if a current passed through me. Inside, the warmth of the airlock felt unreal. I sealed the hatch and leaned against the wall until my heartbeat matched the faint hum that still echoed in my head. In the control room, one of the monitors flickered on. The external camera feed. The view showed the entrance, the same spot I just left, and standing there was someone. My shape, my coat, my stance, the same exact way I'd been outside. I froze. The figure didn't move. Then slowly, its head tilted to the side, as if listening, as if it heard my breath inside the room. The feed stuttered and went black. I pulled the power breaker, cutting the monitors completely. The silence after that felt heavier, like something pressing from inside the walls. I tried to sleep in the observation room. The heaters hummed softly, the only sound left. But every time I started to drift, I felt vibration under the floor, tiny rhythmic taps matching the pulse I'd felt outside. The generator failed completely before dawn. The silence that followed was alive. I went down to the lower level with a flashlight. Frost had crept across the metal floors like veins. My own footsteps echoed, and then something else answered them. A second rhythm. I stopped. The echo stopped. I turned slowly. The beam of light fell across two sets of footprints in the thin layer of frost. One set fresh, right beside mine. I wanted to speak, to call out, but sound felt dangerous. I kept walking, trying to breathe slow even. The backup generator was at the far end of the corridor, behind a maintenance hatch. When I reached it, the panel was already unlatched. Someone had opened it. Inside, the controls were fine. Perfect. But the air was warmer here, humid even. A faint mist curled along the floor. It smelled faintly metallic. Then I heard it again. That deep, steady pulse. This time it wasn't from beneath the snow. It was right behind the wall. I followed it through the maintenance bay, past the storage racks, until I noticed a narrow seam where two panels didn't meet perfectly. A cold draft seeped through. I pushed and the panel gave way. Behind it, a passage led downward, unmapped, not on any schematic. I should have turned back. I should have sealed it. Instead, I crouched and entered. The walls were smooth, metal like the disc outside, lined with frost that shimmered in the light. The deeper I went, the warmer it became. The air pulsed with that same rhythm. I couldn't tell if it came from ahead or from inside me. At the bottom was a small chamber, perfect circle. No seams, no doors. In the center stood that same metallic surface, only this time uncovered, glowing faintly red beneath the ice. It throbbed like a living organ. I felt my hands tremble as I reached toward it. The heat that radiated from it wasn't physical warmth. It was something else. Something inside the chest that made the heart skip in answer. When my fingers touched it, light flared. A flash of color, red turning white. For a second, I wasn't in the room. The snow was gone. The sky outside the station glowed deep crimson. Shapes moved in the air, slow and weightless, drifting where snow should have been. Hollow silhouettes of people. No features, just outlines. One of them turned. I saw my own face reflected in the void. The vision broke. I staggered back, lungs burning, the light in the chamber dimming with each breath. The walls began to shift, plates closing inward. The entrance shrank. I dropped my flashlight, crawled through the narrowing gap just as the metal sealed shut behind me. My flashlight rolled away, beam flickering once before dying. Darkness. Total. I could still feel the pulse through the floor, slow and patient. It didn't stop. It waited. When the light came back, it was different. Dim orange instead of white. I crawled up the corridor. The metal felt warmer, almost soft. When I emerged into the maintenance bay, the layout had changed. Corridors stretched longer, turning at new angles. The doors I passed were unmarked now. My own station, reshaped into something that remembered what it once was, but not quite. The control room lights were on. The monitors came alive on their own. On the main screen, the outside feed again. The figure stood by the metal disc in the snow. The storm had stopped. The world was calm, silent. Then the figure turned, looking straight into the lens, straight at me. The radio clicked on. "Why did you come back?" The voice was soft, broken by static. "I can't get out," I said. A long breath answered, "None of us got out." Then the station shook. The floor rippled as if something vast moved underneath. I ran for the hatch, slipping on the frost-slick floor. The metal screamed as pressure bent it from below. Ceiling panels fell, cables whipping down like roots. The emergency lights flared blood red. When I reached the main door, it wasn't the same. It opened on its own. Outside wasn't the Arctic anymore. The snow was gray, not white. The sky glowed dark red, streaked with motionless clouds. Ash drifted slowly downward like inverted snow. In the distance, something enormous moved behind the haze, its outline rising and falling like breathing. The pulse filled the air again, louder than before. I felt it in my chest, behind my eyes. I took a step forward. The ground vibrated, cracked open. Heat rose from the fissures. I looked up. The sun was gone. Only that red sky watching back. Ahead, a single light burned through the fog. I walked toward it because there was nothing else left to do. It flickered faintly, warm at first, then brighter. I thought it was the station beacon. When I got closer, I saw the shape. Not a light. An eye. The same glow from the metal beneath the snow, now vast and unblinking. The voice returned, steady, calm. "Your place is here," my legs gave out. The air thickened, pressing against my lungs. The ground split wider, the light swallowing everything around me. I saw, for a fraction of a second, a shape standing where I had been. A silhouette identical to mine. Head tilted slightly to the side, watching me with my own stillness. Then the world folded in on itself. The hum stopped, and the snow fell again.